What if the most difficult people in your life were actually part of your soul's plan?
Absolutely. So this week we're looking at soul and karmic relationships. We're looking at those various difficult contracts and exactly how they unfold and why in our lives. And this is episode 2 of our Unified Light Collective podcast. So thank you for joining us once more.
It's very exciting. This is a topic that so many people ask us about. Everybody wants to know about soul contracts, relationships, why people pop up,
how to navigate them,
and how to deal with difficult people, and especially when they're connected very closely to you, like family or relationships, children, parents, grandparents.
So a lot of the clients that come in to see me to ask about their karmic contracts with, main players or key characters in their life that, unfortunately sometimes are giving them some level of upheaval. The first thing they want to know is, how do I close this contract? How do I collapse this karmic, exchange that I'm having with this person? Because I've had enough. And the answer is so simple, Ken. It is work out why you yourself have chosen to do this karmic exchange with this individual. What are they teaching me, and what am I teaching them? What is the exchange? Do we owe each other something? What does this person provoke within me? And if you can answer those questions, and only then can you close the contract.
That's really important. It reminds me of a conversation I had with a friend over the weekend, actually, who was having problems with family members and thought that they had closed off those contracts because it was messy, it was toxic, it was not good. The whole cutting cord ceremony and rituals that so many people do, right? And for 2 years life was pretty good, silent, no noise or drama from that part of the family, and then in the last 2 weeks, boom, explosion. It came back in full force, and it's really messy and yucky. And we were talking about this, and it's exactly what Susie was saying. If we have a karmic contract with a certain person or people, it's not so simple as saying, well, I don't want that anymore. That's too difficult. Let's cut that off. I'm going to block them out of my life and cut them out of my life, and then I'm going to move on, and life's going to be great, and that's done. Well, it doesn't work
out
like
of
that, does
sight,
it?
out of mind.
It doesn't work like that. That's like stuffing them baggage into the cupboard.
Yeah, under the carpet, under the rug, as they say.
And eventually it will expose itself again, and it would have been building up over time.
So why does it come back, Kenny? Why do these things poke their heads, even though we try to shove them under the carpet, so to speak?
Well, firstly, this was agreed upon at a soul level before you came into this lifetime. So it's not a punishment. Your soul chose that experience and chose to have that particular person act in that particular way, and it was going to affect you this way, and as a result you were going to learn X, Y, Z.
Yeah, so there's a lot that you can learn through these karmic exchanges. A lot of people are here to learn about self-love. And self-love could come in the form of healthy boundaries or healthy communication, right? And a lot of people are here to maybe also step into their power, to learn about their sovereignty. Those are some very key lessons that us as souls have signed up to in our soul contracts, to come here and learn more about self-love. And so therefore we arrange with other souls to, these incredible experiences or situations where they provide some sort of catalyst or hardship for us. And when that occurs, we have an option. We have an option to stop, reflect, go inwards. How is this showing up for me, and what do I choose in this moment? And a lot of people, that's where they get stuck. Do I choose self-love and then honest, open communication and creating this healthy boundary with this other person, or do I choose bitterness because I'm stuck in the way that this person is making me feel? I'm feeling awful about myself because the way that we have interacted. So I'm going to be stuck in that self-loathing and project that self-loathing outwards at this person, right? We're all guilty of it. We've done that. I'm sure you can agree, Ken.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So if we stop and before reacting, go inwards and say, okay, what is this person or situation teaching me? What are they provoking within me? and how do I get to choose differently moving forward. And 9 times out of 10, if you choose self-love, you are then reflecting that love that you are cultivating for yourself outward towards that person, so that they can then learn from that experience also. They are viewing you as a mirror, seeing you standing in self-love and choosing self-love, and it makes them stop and rethink their own choices and actions. That is how energy works.
Well, it's not easy, is it? So it's not meant to be easy. If it was easy, there wouldn't be any learning or growth. It would just happen automatically. But we need to go beyond looking at these things as random punishments, that I'm so unlucky to have this group of people in my life surrounding me that always treat me like this.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
You have to look beyond it. And often there's a lot of pain on the other side. Those people that are projecting onto you and creating these experiences that you feel a victim of, those people on the other side of that are usually feeling pretty terrible inside themselves, and maybe they don't like seeing you doing so well in a certain area, and they want to hold on to you or restrict you because it makes them feel better. It's quite common in families, for instance, to see that.
Absolutely.
I mean, when a lot of your clients will have these sort of issues, right?
Yeah,
family dynamics.
Yeah. People are scared of change. Inherently, humans are afraid of change. So when they see their loved ones changing or evolving, it invokes fear. And it could be a positive change, but the shift in their reality as they know it it creates fear. It's scary for people.
If usually there's one person in a family group that would go through the awakening first, right?
Yes. This is common.
And it's usually that person that is also responsible for collapsing family karma.
Absolutely. This is so common.
So usually people that are on the spiritual path, their family or close ones or partners, etc., they may not be at that stage yet. And they find it very difficult because they're going through this rapid acceleration internally and growing as an individual, and often the partner or family members don't actually understand what's going on and why this person is changing so much. They can feel a separation.
Disconnect.
They find it very hard to keep up energetically, and this is actually quite difficult for those going through the awakening process to navigate, because you love your family and you love your partner. You don't want to leave anyone behind, but you also don't want to, if you're practicing self-love, you don't want to stop your own individual growth just to keep other people feeling comfortable, right?
Absolutely.
So there's nothing comfortable about this process. It's not meant to be comfortable. And when you understand that, and you understand that on the other side of it is great reward, tremendous growth, then it starts to make it a bit easier because you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so, there are so many different, relationship dynamics that we have. And, you could look at your partners, and usually your partner, you would have the biggest karmic contract or the most to learn or grow through with them. So if you're looking for a starting point, in terms of reflection or journaling, why did I choose my partner on a soul level? Why did they choose me? What do I teach them? What do they teach me? What do they provoke within me? And what do I trigger within them? Because that is common. I mean, we're married. We can speak on our own karmic contract. And we have had so much learning experience between the both of us. We've been together almost 20 years now.
Yeah. And I would also add to that, although we're in alignment, we're also very different people.
Yeah.
So, and this is usually the case from what we see, right? Most people, it's not that common that you get two people in a solid, successful relationship that are actually identical and act the same. Because ideally, you have two people and they counterbalance the other. Absolutely. All right? And in a relationship dynamic, it is actually healthy. It's healthy to challenge the other person and for the other person to challenge you. Okay? Avoiding this sort of thing really limits the growth of the relationship.
Yeah.
And the more that you understand what that person is triggering within you, and then processing it. The more you grow, the lighter you feel, the better life becomes. So you look to these other people you have soul contracts with as your great teachers.
Absolutely.
The greatest teacher that we have, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, yeah, it can be difficult, but if you go within, journal, ask the questions, why did I choose this person? What do I need to see? What do I need to learn? You'll start to get information and you'll start to understand your partner much better, and that will greatly improve the relationship as well, because you see the value in their particular traits or characteristics and how that can help you to be a better person.
100%. And a big hint or clue for you guys would be a repeated pattern or repeated cycle that you and this other person exhibit between one another. That is usually the universe saying, knock, knock, knock. This is going to happen over and over again until the both of you grasp the learning here. So have a look at those repeated cycles and patterns. We both, within this karmic exchange, need to learn or gauge something from this pattern, choose differently to see ourselves out of this reoccurring cycle.
It's often the people closest to us that trigger us the most, because we care so much about them. So again, that's not just in relationships, it's family members as well. And we're always talking about this. At the moment, Susie and I are both going through our own family karmic dynamics, going back in line. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so as in the ancestral
lineage. How important that is.
So we've got a maternal line, we've got a paternal line. So ancestors on both sides of the family. Within our DNA, that gets passed down from generation to generation. So any sort of oppression or trauma or large events or even personality dynamics get passed down from generation to generation through our DNA, and that is what we call family karma. Okay, and scientists have actually proved that this is a thing. They call it bioepigenetics. And it's so fascinating. They've done tests and found that descendants of those that were in the Holocaust still hold that trauma signature of oppression and control, and so many other different experiments have been done. But me personally, when I look at my own family lineage, Ken's, but also my clients, I've had so many clients come in and ask, am I carrying any family karma? Why does this thing keep happening for me? Why do I keep having financial issues, for example, right? That's a big one. Is there any karma on either side of my family regarding scarcity, regarding financial problems? Help me through this. And, more often than not, it goes back generations to an ancestor that brought in the fear energy, for example. This is an example. It's a common one too. Brought in the fear because perhaps the nation or the town that they lived in was, under-resourced. Maybe there was a war, so, food or famine was scarce, and they held on to that energy their whole life, even after the famine had shifted and, we must, collect resources and store resources out of fear in case this famine that once existed comes back, right? And so then that fear of collecting resources and food and money and holding on to those reserves out of fear, that gets, handed down to generation and generation. And then, you get somebody 200 years later who can't understand why they have such fear around finances and why they have trouble spending, or maybe they spend way too much, and because they've got this scarcity fear that if I don't spend, I won't have enough, and I don't want to have that feeling of I don't have enough. Right?
So they just keep collecting.
Collecting and spending. So it's so fascinating, and it's really mind-blowing to have a look at your own lineage. What am I carrying? me, myself, I'll give an example for myself, and then Ken, I'd love to hear an example from your own work that you've done with your lineage. I know on my maternal side, they've handed down the self-worth energy, right? The karmic implications around low self-worth. And that's always held in the stomach, in the solar plexus. And I remember as a young child, whenever I was feeling unsure of myself or feeling really down on myself, I would have stomach issues. And once as I grew older and started to do this work, and I realized, okay, I definitely have a confidence problem. I've got to heal this. And I started to work on that and really step into my power. The stomach issues, they'd go away and I started to feel quite vibrant. But then, as I started to work in the Akashic records and really understand my family lineage, I could see that this has been carried down for generations and generations within the women on my maternal side, where they felt they needed to suppress their power around the men because the men were quite dominant. And, coming from a Middle Eastern background, that is quite common in our culture. So for me to break out of that was a huge thing. And so then I hand it over to Ken, and he can tell his side of his karmic journey with his ancestral lineage.
Well, yeah, it's actually quite similar to this what you were discussing before. So on my father's side, we're from Lebanon as well, and maybe 4 or 5 generations ago, the extreme poverty. There was my family left the country to come here to make a new life for themselves, and when they came here, they were very, very hungry. You had to survive, right? So that lives within my DNA, that survival. We've got to fight, we've got to strive, we've got to struggle to survive. You've got to work really, really hard, and only then when you work really hard will you be enough or will you be successful. But you've got to push yourself and do everything you can, otherwise you won't survive. So that lives very strong. If I look back through the generations, that's something that it's something that is subconsciously in your field, and it just helps to explain why you have these limiting beliefs around certain things. So once you expose it and you start to understand it, then what you can actually do, and Susie taught me this, and it's a great thing to do, you can visualize down your family line each of the individuals before you, and you can visualize their face, and you can just send them loving energy and loving affirmations that, it's okay, I love you, you have enough, you've done so well.
Gratitude and love.
I'm thankful for everything you have taught me, and I honor that, and I choose to collapse this now. It is no longer needed, and you can reinvent your karmic line
100%.
For your next generations that continue on.
Absolutely.
So it's really powerful. What you do here can affect previous generations as well, and especially your future generations. But this stuff is deep as well. So, there's often patterns that would come up in your current lifetime that are limiting beliefs and limiting patterns, and then you solve them and you think it's done. And then something will pop up later and say, hey, no, we're ready to go deeper. This is what's still in your field, and you've got to clear this too in order for you to move forward. So the healing journey it's not like it's done, I'm so clear, move on. It'll usually pop up again at a deeper level. So it's important to stay open to that, especially if you notice repeating patterns that are still there. That's critical.
I think we need to mention why it's so important to clear family karma, why it's such an honor and a privilege to do this, not just for yourself. You're healing your ancestors, wherever their souls may be in time and space, you're healing them, but you're also starting something fresh for your descendants, You're giving them a fresh start. And what happens if we're all doing this work, all families everywhere kind of doing this work, eventually we'll get there, right? The collective is evolving and ascending consciously. And that's the main aim of our collective, of humanity here on Earth. If we can do our own individual healing and then look at our ancestral healing as well, oh my goodness, that means clans, families, tribes, communities, cities, countries, collective evolution, collective healing. And that's how ascension works.
Yeah. And by clearing previous generations' trauma, you'll become lighter. You no longer carry that baggage with you. It's like, if you can think of that baggage as like anchors, anchoring you down, keeping you stuck, stopping you from ascending. Once you clear that, then, actually we didn't talk about this, but once you clear a karmic contract or, a karmic contract, it basically just dissolves away. Okay? It's not forced. It's not, okay, I cut my ties with my family, I cut my ties with this relationship or with that person. Once you resolve what is needed to resolve and you go through the learnings at a soul level that you chose, it just fades away and then you can just float up higher on your ascension journey. Absolutely. And that's how I visualize it.
And that's the aim of the soul. We all came here for growth, experience, and to become lighter. And the way we become lighter, i.e. ascend in vibration, because we all want to get back to oneness or unity with, the all or source energy, is to go through our own lessons and clear and heal those. Release all those illusions and blocks.
So, to become lighter, what does that actually mean? To me, it means you feel freer, right? Because you're not stuck or anchored in. But it's so much easier to tap into higher vibratory emotional states like peace, joy, unconditional love. Okay, so you start to experience more of these more frequently and you start to see a better world. You don't see a world full of darkness, pain, suffering, hopelessness. No, you see the beauty in everything. You see the beauty in nature. You see the beauty in people. You see the beauty in people you have a soul contract with that are projecting negativity towards you. You see beyond that. You see the beauty in it. And that's probably one of the key advantages of becoming lighter. And then you get access, you get closer to source, you get closer to God, you get more of that source energy channeling through you, and then everything improves. Your field of awareness improves, you get better intuition, you tap into extrasensory abilities. All kinds of things are possible once you start clearing everything that's weighing you down. And I mean, to me, to become lighter is the definition of freedom.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts on that, Suze? I think
journaling is always a really great tool in working this all out. Use of meditation, going into meditation with the intention of surrendering to whatever comes through that is needed on your journey, but also seeing a spiritual guide. This is something that the both of us work with our clients in our mystery school with regularly, and we've got some amazing results and some wonderful, growth opportunities for all of our students and ourselves as well, because we're continually working on our own personal journeys. So
I think once people realize that, once you get the concept in your head that these relationships that cause us grief are not random and you pre-planned it. And you pre-planned it to resolve whatever's coming up for you and heal. That is an act of self-love. It heals you, it heals that other person, it frees it. And as we discussed, if it's related to family, it frees your karmic line backwards and forwards. So there is so much to gain from it once you understand this is actually how it works behind the scenes. It's not just random stuff thrown at your life to make it difficult for you because it's just cruel and unfair. No, you at the very core of your being chose this experience because there's wisdom to extract. Once you understand that and approach all your relationships like that, it's like living life with a new lens, a complete, start over again, version 2.0 and then version 3.0. And you just keep upgrading and everything becomes easier. That's the beauty of it. So there is so much reward to extract through this process that can often be difficult and challenging and painful, but the rewards are tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll wrap things up for this week. If you have any comments, please leave some comments on the podcast video. We love answering your questions. But yeah, until next time, take care.
See ya.